Today, we're diving into a pretty chilling story, one that's been pieced together from a mountain of court documents and personal logs. It's called the Digital Siege because the weapons here aren't what you'd expect. No, they're the devices we all have in our pockets and the data we're sharing every single day. So, this quote right here, this isn't just some dry legalese from a court filing. This is the end result. It's the destination of a long and messy road, a story of a life in total freefall. Let's start digging in to see how all the pieces led to this point. So that's the big question we're tackling, right? How does a person's life get so completely and utterly locked down? We're going to try and answer that by looking at everything: court filings, personal logs, even reports from the big tech companies that build the digital world we all live in. Okay, first up, a life derailed. We're going to start by looking at the real-world consequences, because this isn't some hypothetical scenario. This is a documented collapse, all laid out in black and white. What you're looking at here is a victim impact statement from the state of Florida. This is where things get incredibly real. It's a formal, legal document that spells out, in no uncertain terms, the actual harm that was caused. This is the moment the digital siege crashed into the real world. All right, now for the next piece of the puzzle, the master plan allegation. We're going to unpack a set of personal documents that allege this was all a carefully planned three-phase campaign. You know, the whole narrative really hangs on these two documents, which are called the Master Case Map and the Strategic Battle Map. You can almost think of them as the Rosetta Stone for this entire story. They allege a coordinated campaign that stretched all the way from Atlanta to Miami, jumping back and forth between the real world and the digital one. And here's how it allegedly played out, like a three-act tragedy. Act 1, back in late 2023, starts with an extortion allegation in Atlanta. Then, Act 2 moves to Miami in 2024, described as a coercive trap set during a time of extreme vulnerability. And then, the final act, a full-blown digital siege designed to completely lock the person out of their own life. And this is where it gets really unsettling. We're going to look at how technology itself was allegedly turned into a weapon. We're not talking about anything fancy here. We're talking about the apps, the websites, the tech you and I use every single day. So to really get how these digital tools can be weaponized, you first have to understand the massive system they all operate in. And let's just start with this number: $227 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. According to a report from Apple, that's what the data broker industry is worth. It's this giant hidden economy, and let's be honest, you are the product. And this is how it happens, a million times a day, right under our noses. It's called a real-time ad auction. The second you open an app, boom, this invisible auction kicks off. In literal milliseconds, your data, your location, your device ID gets broadcast out and sold to the highest bidder, all just to show you a single ad. But every single time, it leaves a digital breadcrumb trail of where you've been. I'm sure we've all seen this pop up 1,000 times, right? Allow app to track. This is Apple's big feature to give us control, their promise of privacy. But here's the scary question. What happens when the very tool designed to protect you is allegedly twisted and used for the exact opposite? And there it is. This is a direct allegation from that strategic battle map we mentioned earlier. It claims that the exact same ad auction system, the one that's supposed to be harmlessly selling you stuff, was instead used as a weapon of surveillance to monitor a person's every move. And that's the crazy irony of our digital age, isn't it? The promise of this tech is to empower you, to give you control, but the allegation here is that it was used to control someone else. It's like a shield being reforged into a sword. The very thing designed to protect you becomes the weapon used against you. Now let's talk about access. Think about it. Your email address is basically the master key to your entire digital kingdom. So features like Apple's Hide My Email are supposed to act like a digital deadbolt, keeping unwanted people out. But what happens if someone figures out how to pick the lock? Well, this is what happens. A document called the Digital Interference Log alleges that the subject was locked out of everything. We're talking email, online court portals, for 4 entire months. And the direct result of that? A default judgment was issued against them. Imagine that. You can't even defend yourself because you've been digitally silenced. And this right here, this is what that chaos looks like in the real world. This isn't just about pixels on a screen. When your digital life is thrown into complete disarray, your physical life is never far behind. That line we all think exists between our online and offline lives, it's way, way blurrier than we think. So, what about the law in all of this? Let's quickly navigate the legal labyrinth here. Because when a crime is digital and it crosses state lines, things get complicated fast. Okay, you need to know about the CFAA, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. You can basically think of it as the big federal anti-hacking law. It's the digital equivalent of a no trespassing sign, and it applies to pretty much any computer that's involved in interstate commerce, which, let's face it, is almost all of them. And then there's this really tricky concept called interstate jurisdiction. This is a huge deal. If someone in, say, Georgia does something online that harms someone in Florida, where do you even hold the trial? It becomes this legal tug of war. And believe me, figuring out the where can make or break an entire case. Okay, so let's zoom out and bring this all back home, because what we've been walking through isn't just one person's story. It's really a cautionary tale for all of us, and it shines a massive spotlight on the digital vulnerabilities we all share. I mean, just think for a second about the unseen profile that exists of you out there. Data brokers are building digital dossiers with up to 5,000 different data points about you. The average app on your phone has 6 different trackers, just gobbling up information. And all that supposedly anonymous location data, it's not so anonymous when it gets pieced together to map your daily life. And that map is for sale. So in the end, that master case map isn't really a map of one person's crisis. It's more like a map of the fault lines in our connected world, the unseen vulnerabilities that affect every single one of us. Which really just leaves us with one final and I think pretty profound question. Who truly holds the keys to your digital life? Is it you? Or is it the tech companies, the data brokers, the unseen forces that built this world we all live in? That's the question we all need to start asking ourselves.